They called it a battery, a source of power from 2000 years ago. The year is 1936. Deep within the sun-baked earth of Qujut Rabu near Baghdad, a team of German archaeologists unearthed something utterly perplexing. Not gold, not ancient scrolls, but a small, unassuming clay pot. Its contents, however, would ignite a historical debate that continues to this very day. This isn't merely an old pot. Inside, a copper cylinder, and within that, an iron rod. It was a peculiar assembly, one that immediately struck Dr. Wilhelm Koenig, the director of the National Museum of Iraq, as familiar. Too familiar, perhaps, for something crafted 2 millennia prior. Koenig, observing this curious artifact, proposed a radical theory. This wasn't merely a vessel for storage or ritual. He believed it was a primitive electrical battery, a device capable of generating a small current. A discovery that, if true, would rewrite our understanding of ancient technology. The so-called Baghdad battery dates back to the Parthian era, roughly between 250 BC and 224 AD. This was a period of vast empires and intricate trade routes, but not, as far as we understood, of electrical engineering. The very notion seemed almost anachronistic. To understand Koenig's hypothesis, we must first examine the object itself. The clay jar, about 14 centimeters tall, contained a copper sheet rolled into a cylinder. This cylinder was then sealed at the bottom with bitumen, a natural asphalt. The iron rod ran through the center of the copper cylinder, suspended without touching it. The gap between the copper and the iron, Koenig reasoned, would have been filled with an electrolyte, an acidic or alkaline liquid. Grape juice, vinegar, or even wine, all readily available in ancient Mesopotamia, could have served this purpose. And with an electrolyte, you have the basic components of a galvanic cell. Experiments conducted in the 1930s and repeatedly since have demonstrated that a replica of the Baghdad battery filled with an acidic solution can indeed produce a voltage, typically around 0.5 to 1.5 volts, enough to generate a very small but measurable electrical current. But what was the purpose of such a low-voltage device? This is where the debate truly intensifies. Koenig himself suggested it might have been used for electroplating, applying a thin layer of one metal onto another, like gold onto silver, for decorative purposes. Ancient artisans were incredibly skilled. We've found objects like the Midas hoard, demonstrating remarkable metallurgical prowess. Electroplating would explain the incredibly thin and even gold coatings sometimes seen on ancient artifacts, which are difficult to achieve through traditional fire gilding. Another intriguing theory proposes its use in medical treatments. Ancient texts describe methods for pain relief using electric fish, like torpedo rays. Perhaps the Baghdad battery offered a more controlled, albeit weak, source of therapeutic current. Could it have been used for religious rituals, to create a mild electric shock, perhaps for priests or supplicants, to enhance a spiritual experience? Imagine a touch that tingles, a sudden jolt, interpreted as divine intervention. Consider the temples of Hathor at Dendera, Egypt. Hieroglyphs there depict what some interpret as light bulbs, a controversial but persistent theory. If they had light, they needed power. Could the Baghdad battery or similar devices have provided it, even if just for a fleeting moment? However, the battery theory faces significant challenges, the most prominent being the absence of any wires, conductors, or a clear circuit in conjunction with the discovered artifacts. If they were making electricity, where was it going? Furthermore, no ancient texts explicitly describe the use of such a device for electrical purposes. While ancient knowledge was often esoteric, one might expect some obscure reference, a craftsman's secret, or a philosopher's musing on this new power source. Many archaeologists and historians remain unconvinced. They propose a far more mundane explanation. The Baghdad battery was simply a storage vessel for sacred scrolls or papyri. The copper cylinder and iron rod might have been used to hold the scrolls in place, perhaps protecting them from insects or moisture. The bitumen seal at the bottom would certainly aid in preservation, creating an airtight container. In a hot, arid climate, protecting precious documents from decay would have been a priority. The components, in this context, serve a practical rather than electrical function. Another alternative is that it was a ritual object, perhaps containing sacred oils or herbs, with the metal components serving a symbolic purpose. The copper and iron could have represented different deities or cosmic forces, a common practice in ancient Mesopotamian beliefs. The problem with simply being a scroll jar is the peculiar arrangement of the metals. Why an iron rod suspended within a copper cylinder, if not to keep them separate for an electrochemical reaction? A simpler, less complex design would suffice for document storage. The discovery of similar, albeit less complete, artifacts in the region further complicates the picture. Some believe these are evidence of a widespread, though rudimentary, understanding of electricity. Others see them as isolated curiosities, misinterpreted through a modern lens. Ultimately, the truth remains elusive. We have the artifact, we know it can produce electricity, but we lack definitive proof of its intended function. This ambiguity is precisely what makes the Baghdad battery one of history's most enduring enigmas. Was it a forgotten marvel of ancient engineering, hinting at a technological leap lost to time, or merely a cleverly constructed jar, its true purpose forever obscured by the sands of centuries? The question forces us to confront our assumptions about the past. It challenges the linear progression of human invention, suggesting that flashes of genius, or perhaps just serendipitous discoveries, could have occurred far earlier than we dare to imagine. The Baghdad battery stands as a silent testament to the vast unknowns still lurking beneath the surface of history. Whether a power source or a ritual object, its very existence forces us to reconsider the ingenuity and complexity of ancient civilizations, and perhaps to wonder what other secrets still lie buried, waiting to disrupt our understanding of the world. Next, we unravel the perplexing disappearance of the Ninth Legion.